was a movie be a quaba and found bra TV and platform we so. Dr. Okoe-boye and can honorary member of parliament at the Malaysia Kuku constituency. Now, Hon Felix Ofusu Kwaakye Aklashi, a government spokesperson, government minister. In fact, now, she say Ghana, about your health system, any your health information. More I say, almost software be what you say, software be hiding. Or more disrupt and as a software be hiding. Enya 40 be nina negotiation be MPP are buying or more so or money private company be acquire IVHD and NDC buyer as a Casano Enyanyede Enko ye or my being ko benkrum inti. I know and I'm so I'm on cutting off. I was here same way and Bernard Okoe-boye episode yeding or clarify nyama ena Felix Ofusu Kwaakye say no someone more can say intro na mudi nti ni kwan say mema kwan mudi intro yenti say ni bi omo aklashi o Metro TV na ekoba ye beto so ye hwesa say ni bi ekoba ye beto so yankopon ka na o subscribe na for o comment it like share na for in the black conversation ekoso.
I'm like, have we met? He said, oh, you are familiar because we always watch your Metro. So in fact Metro is the deal. And I'm not surprised that the man himself, Dr. Abe, ended up being at what's the name, Cocoa Board.
Right.
If you have the skill to manage this platform, Boro, you're a big man. You can manage Cocoa Board. So
Dr. Bernard Okoe-boye.
It's a pleasure. But before I forget, because of I'm getting a little bit photophobic, where if the light goes into the eye, you know, when light goes into your eye, usually the muscles of the eye contract so that they will close the space, so that too much light doesn't enter the eye.
Right.
If the contraction is too strong, with time you get some little bit of headache. So the best way is to wear a screen, like a glass, so that it will shield the entry of the light. So if along the show, I'll let you guys get me a sunscreen, like sunglasses, respectively. It's because I'm trying to reduce the amount of light. So I'm just trying to plead with them, but I'm starting with our lights so that they will know that, I mean, all is well.
And I'm sure that our lighting technician will sort it out.
No, it's not your fault. In the past, sometimes it's also a sign that you are not in your 30s or 40s anymore, because ideally the contraction should happen without issues, but as you age, sometimes the muscles become a little bit weak. So that's why you have some of these issues. That's why a lot of people who didn't used to wear glasses, with time you see them like wearing. So I'm just trying to give that.
That's fine. The thing about you is that you're big on, you know, what I'll call you like to educate a lot of people on health related issues, and it's something that is highly commendable. You know, for you look at platforms as just a platform for debating issues and, you know, forcefully articulating your views and things, but you also look at it as a platform to educate people when it comes to.
Well, you know, when you are driving, as you drive, sometimes as you drive, you can sometimes feel like there's water in front of you, only to get realize that there's no water. So in physics, they show you how a mirage forms, formation of a mirage, and one of the reasons I like to explain like things is that it's always an interesting phenomenon when you understand how things ultimately culminate in something you are seeing or experiencing. Things that look weird or mystical, if explained by science, is always an interesting phenomenon. So if you are having headache after having lights shown in your eyes for some time, it's interesting when you are told that it's because you have muscles that are contracting, and as they contract and relax to save you from having light enter your eyes, in the process you get headache because they get strained. I mean, is that not wonderful?
Right.
I mean, that's the foundation, absolutely.
Right. And I've just seen a video, and of course, I've seen something in the video which is not new, because when you walked in here, I asked the same question. I said, what is this with this?
This is my
jeans and caterpillar boots.
You see?
What's happening?
Moro, when we were in government,
yes,
you always know that you can wear your suit up and down.
Yes.
Because you are likely going to sit in an air-conditioned office, be in some meetings, and go home to sleep. But in this era now, some people leave their house and later they call them to Yoko, and then they sleep in Yoko to the next day. So these days, I'm trying to do jeans and all conditions gears, like
just in case
boots, just in case they ask me to come and sit at. You know, Kojo Chungwabo is watching the show.
Oh my God!
If Kojo decides to make my life because he say, Dr. Kam, I have questions for you. You know, so we are all trying to wear safety gears. So this it's only the top that is for the cameras. That's why I'm wearing white with bow tie. But all the things down, I can play soccer with it, run with it, sleep for a week, somewhere with it, and we are good to go. So this opposition gear.
I see. So what brand of boots is this?
Oh, usually me, I'm not too much into brands. I just try to make sure that what you wear is like it's durable and authentic. Yeah. So these are shoes I picked, I'm sure, from somewhere, but it's a very solid shoe. This can do ice, snow, sand, and all conditions.
I see. I see. Have you had any?
And can also do the morning show.
I like that. Have you so far had any invitation from any of the state's investigative institutions, the EOCO, FIC?
Oh, I think the last time I was called to NIB. Yes, and they wanted to find out, I think, some things about Sputnik, some of the things that happened during our era, my perspectives on them, what role I had to play. So I cooperated. I mean, it was and let me comment, there's one gentleman, he's one of the bosses at NIB, he has a northern name, Awudu or something. Oh, his relationship was fantastic. I mean, the reception and everything. I was with them, even my lawyer delayed, I had to go with the lawyer, and they said, oh, are you okay to deal with us without the lawyer? I said, oh, fine, we can go on. We spent some 2 hours, and then later, I went there with my jeans and everything, in case I had to sleep there, but fortunately they said I could go home. So I think so far it's been okay. And let me also say this, that when you hold public office, you have to be accountable. So it is not a crime or it's not wrong that the agencies would invite you. The only time we try to raise issues is when the process is becoming prolonged, and in doing that, it looks like you are being handled like someone who's been already convicted. But otherwise, I don't think we should have a problem with people being accountable. There were some appointees in the NDC who, under our time, went through the processes. Some were freed, some were convicted and all that. I mean, it's part of the process. It's just that we have to be fair and be seen to be reasonable. Be seen, because if you are doing something and let's say 80% of the country thinks that, oh, you are giving, your office has the right to call opportunity cost to that. There's a lot of work to be done. My prayer is that Felix Dems and the rest of the team would have time to focus on the work so that they can deliver the 24-hour economy.
All right. So also joining us is the man who speaks for the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, but he also doubles up as the Minister of State in charge of Government Communications, and he's also an MP. I'm talking about Felix Kwaakye Ofusu. Good morning.
Good morning, Moro.
Chief, how are you?
Oh, I'm okay. We are going through the motions of governance and ensuring that
the public is excited that at least on Fridays you come here to update them on matters that they may not necessarily have paid attention to. In fact, it's something that really excites them. So they know that if they don't know what's happening at all, Friday once they come.
Well, that is true. It's part of the responsibilities that I have as a minister responsible for government communications, to keep the public informed and let them know exactly what is happening. I mean, there's a passage in the Bible that talks about lighting a candle and putting it under a table. You need to put it on a lampstick, a lamppost, if you like, so that it may shine the light onto the path of those who are coming. So it's one thing to deliver, but it's also another thing to keep the public informed so that they can appreciate what difficulties there are, why the successes you've chalked have come about, and what the benefits of those successes are. Of course, there are many ways of doing that. The issuance of press statements, granting interviews, holding press briefings like we do the accountability series where the health minister was this week. Next week, all things being equal, barring any last minute unforeseen development, the minister for Agric will appear to update the public on interventions under his ministry. The famous Okoe-boye and its rollout will be addressed, and all other matters relating to the agri sector will be addressed. So appearing here is one more strand to that approach, and I'm more than happy to be available to clarify issues and shed light on happenings in government. Yeah.
How's the constituency? Everything fine?
Oh, by God's grace, it's going well. Okay. We continue to do what we can. And again, I mean, things have picked up. I told you last week about how under the MPP, AAK was starved of critical resources. Indeed, the whole of last year, only 298,000 Ghana cedis was released as common fund. 298,000 Ghana cedis. This year, 6.5 million Ghana cedis has gone to the assembly for the first 2 quarters alone. So because of that, they are undertaking about 6 or 8 significant projects with that kind of money. And it shows you the massive turnaround that has occurred within that period. And I've also often told you about roads and how it had become an issue. There are about 3 or 4 major roads that are on the verge of being constructed because of the interventions that we've made. Abrodunkwa, the district capital, they do not have befitting roads. That is going to be addressed. It's a 6-kilometer stretch that will be addressed. The Abakrampa junction to Abakrampa road. That's my hometown actually. That one too currently is under construction and should be completed in time. The Asebu to Putubiu to Brimso road is about a 12-kilometer stretch that is also being tackled. And then the other roads too that will be addressed in due course. So in all, things are much better now than they were at the time that we took over. But let me assure my brother Okoe-boye that we are very focused on delivering on the mandates that the people of Ghana give us. It was an overwhelming mandate. And I'm sure he remembers that on many occasions where we met here before the elections, I used to caution about how things were simply not right in the country. He retained hope that they will be re-elected. But I think he contested for parliament himself. And the results showed clearly that people were unhappy with their government. It was not just the fact that they lost, but the margin by which they lost shows clearly that we were right in the analysis that we carried out in the prelude to the elections, and that they simply didn't govern properly. In government, there are many things that we have. Government does many things, and several people are appointed to several different portfolios. So everybody has their own. So those who have been inviting him and others to Yoko have that as their mandate. That is what they do full time. Whilst they are doing that, it does not preclude me, as government communication minister, for instance, from ensuring the dissemination of government information to the public. It hasn't stopped the finance minister from managing the economy and ensuring that today our currency is in much better position. Overall, it has appreciated 37%. Last year, it depreciated 27%. Year to date, it has appreciated by 37%. Indeed, there's a report that I saw a couple of days ago, which said that this is the first time this has happened since the redenomination of the currency under President Kufuor.
It's a Bloomberg report.
Absolutely. Unprecedented performance. And this has happened even as accountability is being exacted from members of the government that he was part of. So often you hear MPP propaganda say, oh, we should focus on governance and leave those that are being held accountable alone. Clearly, they are missing the point. They are missing the point. You can walk and chew gum. People have responsibilities and they will be carried out. And I can also assure that due process is being followed. In fact, it's one of the reasons why the process has been meticulous. are the ones who shout that the Attorney General is not moving fast enough. Yet the moment the Attorney General clamps down on any of them, hey, our rights have been abused. The fact is that these things are being done fairly, in a manner that does not infringe on anybody's rights. And to the extent that there is evidence to show that there is wrongdoing, due process will be followed. Whatever the case may be, whoever is accused will be given opportunity, as the law requires, to provide responses to any claims made against the person. And if a court finds that his responses are adequate, that they answer the charges leveled against him, he will be made to work. I think that is a clearly established process in our country's history, and there's no reason to worry about that. But as for the accountability, to be exact, and the fact is that some of the things that have been discovered have been mind-boggling. In recent weeks, people have been shocked about what we are discovering. This light wave matter, for instance, that the health, I'm sure we'll go into it, that the health minister.
Yes, it's one of the topics that we're looking at.
It's mind-boggling. The what do you call it? The buffer stock matter is shocking. The national service one, as for that one, is just mind-blowing. And there's even more to come. I told you about the audit that has been carried out into the arrears that they said we had inherited. When we came, they said we had about 170 billion Ghana cedis of arrears. There's an audit that has been conducted by the Auditor General, and the results are mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. I'm sure that the Finance Minister will have opportunity going for you to speak to it, maybe in his budget or after that. And it will show that, you know, it was not just that there was corruption. There was general recklessness. You wonder exactly what it was that was leading government to conduct itself in the way that they were conducting themselves. The wanton dissipation of resources. Look, I doubt that there will ever be a government where you won't find one or two instances of wrongdoing on the part of appointees. Often it is human nature, so people get involved in these things. But the levels to which it was taken under the previous government and the things that we discovered, in opposition, we could only rely on the information that was available at the time. You in the media used to bombard us daily with allegations of wrongdoing, with instances of corruption and what have you. But what we have found is simply astonishing. So it was as if the national purse was intentionally open wide for people to help themselves to. And everybody was grabbing anything they could lay hands on and getting away with it. Some of the decisions were shocking. So I think that it is something that we can get into. But overall, governance is good. President Mahama currently is in France.
Yeah.
He met the French president yesterday to hold bilateral discussions and explore ways of cooperation between the two countries and how we as a country can benefit from it. From there, he will proceed to Egypt as the guest of the Egyptian president to open the Egyptian National Museum. So he should be back here on 2nd November. Shortly after that, we expect the arrival of the German president to pay a 2-day state visit to Ghana. Official notification will go out very soon on that particular matter. And governance will continue to go on with a view to delivering cutting-edge governance to the people of Ghana.
All right. Felix, I recall when the Big Push initiative was launched, there were some critics who said it was audio money, you know, and that it was just going to be talk and there was never going to be any action because government was so broke. But just yesterday, I saw an update on your Facebook wall, and you were seeking to update us on some developments relative to the Big Push. What is it?
That is true. Indeed, as far back as March, when the finance minister read the maiden budget of this government, he indicated the allocation of 13.9 billion Ghana cedis, roughly equivalent to $1 billion, for the purposes of financing Big Push. And the minister had said that in total, we expect to, over the next 2-3 years, devote about 60 billion Ghana cedis to fixing Ghana's roads. Now, often what has happened is that we have stretched ourselves thin, you know, and done things piecemeal. So we are never really able to resolve one particular problem comprehensively. So this time round, we know that there's a major difficulty with roads. I've highlighted the problems with roads in AAK, for instance. I'm sure it's something that is pervasive and widespread. So we want to devote that kind of resources to fix the roads once and for all. And there are major roads that some of them already exist, but they've deteriorated. Some too have become too narrow and simply unable to accommodate the level of traffic and movement. Some of them too have become death traps. Some of them are just single carriageways. So there's a need to expand them. There's a need to modernize them. We need to make some interventions in terms of interchanges and what have you. So all of those have been captured. There are some roads that we inherited that, again, were not funded. They said they were on GOG budget, but you know that GOG budget hardly is enough to do anything. So they were not funded, and therefore have been bequeathed to us, and we have a responsibility to continue with them. So the Ministry of Roads and Highways yesterday provided an update on where they are with things and indicated that work has already begun. Indeed, last week or so, the president was in Takoradi to cut sod for the 73-kilometer Cape Coast to Takoradi road, which is going to be dualized. The contractor is actually on site and has started working already. About 3 weeks ago or a month ago, the president was in Ho to cut sod for that stretch of the road. The Afenga-Dowenya road too is something that the president has cut sod for. So all these show that work has begun. And one of the problems that we've had is that releases are not timely. So sometimes the roads deteriorate even before the contractors get payment for the extent of work that they've done. So the finance minister has said that this time round he is prepared to pay within 2 weeks of the submission of verified certificates that have been audited and found to be commensurate with the work done on the ground. That within 2 weeks, he is in a position to ensure that payment is done. And in fact, he demonstrated that by releasing $77 million, that's about 800 million Ghana cedis, to the contractor on the, I think, of Anko to Insawom Road. And that kind of money has gone in. So you see that there's significant improvement. A few months ago, it became a major problem when the rains are setting. So that is what it is about. It is not audio money. It is actual money that the finance minister has ring-fenced and is going to use to finance this level of development. So in 2 years, we should see significant, or let's say by the end of the 4 years, we should see significant improvements in roads, major arterial roads. So there's also an initiative to construct the roads in about 170 constituencies across Ghana, or 170 districts. Let me put it that way. So every year, each district gets 10 kilometers of road every year. So that's 40 kilometers of road for roads per constituency in the next 4 years, multiplied by 170. So you see the extent of work that will be done to fix. We believe that by the end of this, the issues of dilapidated roads, deteriorated roads, immotorable roads should be behind us. I'm sure there will be more work to be done. There will never be an end to constructing roads, but this will significantly improve the roads and put us in a position where we are able to facilitate the movement of goods and services more rapidly than we are currently able to do.
And all these are GOG funded?
Yes.
We're not borrowing?
No, currently we are not allowed to borrow. We have a borrowing ceiling of $250 million, which will be inadequate to finance the $1 billion or so that is needed for this kind of facility. Thanks to Okoe-boye and his friends' mismanagement of the Ghanaian economy, the door has been shut in our face in the international financial market. We can't borrow. The IMF too has placed a limit of 250. In fact, they left about 55 projects that require over $1.7 billion to complete. And yeah, we're only able to borrow $250 million. So the money we are using for big push is not borrowing money. Indeed, we went to Parliament to ask that all the proceeds of AFA, the annual budget funding amount that would have gone to the budget, should be allocated to big push. And that is what is being used. So it is monies that we are generating ourselves, not monies that we are going to borrow. Mm-hmm. And so that also shows that it's possible to limit borrowing, improve the economy, and then ensure that infrastructure is fixed. Contrary to the model that our friends in the MPP believed in, borrowed us into non-existence, left us with over 720 billion Ghana cedis in debt. Mm. Currently, thanks to the appreciation of the cedi, that has dropped to about 650 billion or so. And our debt to GDP ratio has also dropped significantly since we took power. So overall, I think that everybody can attest that we've done much better than what we inherited. Mm. Yes.
Now, I want us to start with, we've got a number of issues to look at this morning, but there's this story which was carried by today's Daily Guide, which is as a result of an incident that happened yesterday in Kumasi, and we are becoming increasingly worried that for such a state-of-the-art, facility that was built just a few months ago to be gutted in such a horrendous way. I mean, it's something that we thought was mind-boggling, and we felt that there was quite a number of issues to ask. So we'll start with this. So today's Daily Guide is reporting, it says fire guts China City Mall, and J is from JF Joe in Kumasi. He's reporting that China City Mall, a major retail shopping center located at Santas Roundabout in Kumasi, has been razed down by fire. The fire reportedly started yesterday afternoon when people were shopping in the facility. According to eyewitnesses' report, shoppers and the attendants at the mall, upon seeing the fire, took to their heels to save their lives. The dangerous inferno destroyed items in the shop valued at millions of Ghana cedis. The exact cause of the fire was not immediately known, but some people at the scene suspected electrical power fluctuation may have sparked the inferno. Now, personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service who were called to the scene managed to douse the fire. The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly Chief Executive Richard Oforiagimai Buedi, aka Zuba, also rushed to the scene to console the owners of the facility. The cause of the fire was being investigated by the GNFS, which is the Ghana National Fire Service, when the story was being filed. And we've seen it. I mean, as you can see in your shots, it was such it was such a massive incident that happened yesterday. I don't know in terms of how much this is going to cost the owners of the business. Doc, I'm sure you saw it too. I mean, it trended. It was all over the place on social media. I don't know what you make of this incident.
Well, before I go to that, let me first of all, just as you did, commend Minister for coming on the show. You know, when you have a show with you're on the same show with the government spokesperson, the whole Ghana's president spokesperson, it means that you're a big guy, you know. So now Hon Felix is so much of a big man that when we come on a show with him, we're also big men. And you know,
oh, Doc,
I remember the way Felix is feeling and talking. It's the same way we used to talk when we had that overwhelming mandate in 2016.
Okay.
In fact, 2017, when we talked with NDC on the show, we told them they've messed up, growth had declined, the debt had gone up, all those things.
So it sounds like a deja vu to you.
Oh, right? Bro. You see, when the people give you the mandate, it brings some energy.
Okay.
But, I mean, we respect that. All I'll say is that it's early days yet to start pronouncing judgments on your performance.
Okay.
We'll continue to pray for you. Just keep your eye on the ball. But sometimes I hear them, and it reminds me of our first term. At the point we were the highest FDI, foreign direct investment destination in the whole of West Africa. At the point, our recovery, the city, was quoted by some marks as one of the best in the West African sub-region and all that. When you are in government, you are susceptible to both internal events and external events. In our second term, 2019-2020, there was a big external event. My brothers in opposition then would talk about it and assume and behave like nothing happened in the world. But sometimes, even leaders of today, President Mahama was in the function, he mentioned how African economies had to deal with the effects of the pandemic and all that. But I understand, it's politics. When we are home, we say, oh, they have messed up, everything is them. So all I want to say is that they have an overwhelming mandate. I mean, as a government, I was listening to Kemi, is it Badenoch, the conservative leader in the UK, the lady of Nigerian origin. She made a very fantastic point when she addressed their conference. She said, when you are a government or you are a party that left or leaves government, you must speak about those achievements you had, which everybody is proud of, with a lot of pride also, and own them. But you shouldn't also run away from some of the mistakes you made. You must man up to them, so that if the one who's been given the opportunity over time fails on delivering the things they promised, the same people will know that you have done some good things and you have acknowledged those that were not good and are willing to move away from them. So if they remind us of some of the mistakes in government, the things we did, it's part of the business. But if they were perfect in government before 2017, nobody would have voted them out. So Felix, you just take it cool and know that this is our job we are doing. And I'm happy he said that, how do you call it? Some people were acting reckless and all that. If you've had experience in government before, the way you behave is not how everybody in the party might behave. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I will not mention the name, but we have actors and appointees who work with President Mahama, whose conduct has appeared before judges in Ghana. And they've described them as people who acted with abundant recklessness, who actually stole money as if there was no tomorrow. I'm not talking, these were not pronouncements from an attorney general addressing the country. No. I'm talking about court of law, where an arbiter has looked at both sides and come to a conclusion. In fact, I have to speak on record. That person has still not given us the things the judge said should give to us. This was an appointee of Jandam. It does not in any way mean that all the actors under Jandam, including Felix, were thieves. No. And I always say jokingly that politics is the only trade where when you see an armed robber join you, you can't tell him, get out of here, because of your history, especially when they have a vote. When an armed robber comes for your rally, that, oh, you are preaching, and when I say armed robber, not one who is robbing now, maybe has a history of having robbed and even discharged from jail. If he comes for a rally grounds and say, I'm MPP, I'll vote for you, you tell him, you're an armed robber, get out of here. The point I want to make is that politics is not like the church or corporate bodies where they have a code and you screen people before they enter. So this is the risk that comes with the job. But when such people are identified, they must go through due process. And again, let me plead, they can continue to do so. But whenever you present people in the public all the time, state all your facts and put it in a way that appears as if, look, this is a done deal. There is a risk that even if they succeed in showing that they are not guilty, before anyone who knows them, they are still guilty folks. You don't need a very complex mind to understand this. But because of politics, sometimes we over-argue. There are people that were put on trial during our time. Maybe if we had used this similar approach, by now their faces would have been known by everybody as thieves. But these people are conveniently working in Ghana and nobody knows them because their approach was different. So we are not saying we have all the knowledge in the world, but democracy allows you to show your opinion or to tell your opinion. And that is what we are saying. And I never said on this show that it is wrong for anybody to be approached. When I was called, who am I? I presented myself. I went home. When someone is called and they don't go home, I know that sometimes you can be detained. But I talk about reasonability. Even in law, they have what they call the ordinary man on the street. How would they think? If someone is detained for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, if you hear somebody say that, oh, Ebe, it's too much, it's out of reasonability. Nobody is saying don't do it. So please, I will not say that you don't have the mandate, but you should also tolerate and be receptive to people's opinion and all that. And I think we are good to go. As for this fire, all I'll say is that regulations should be up and doing. You know, sometimes there are some risks that some enterprises take, and it puts them at risk of maybe fire and all that. I've heard some people say it's arson because when this company actually started operations in the Ashanti region, petty traders felt that their trade might be endangered because a lot of people were rushing to them and all that. I mean, as for these speculations, you know, this is typical Ghana. But bottom line is that let's get to work. Let's be very scientific in our approach. Find out what caused the fire. And most importantly, put in measures to try and prevent further future events like this. And I hope they had some form of insurance. I think insurance penetration in Ghana is very poor. Elsewhere, even without insurance, you might not be, others will not do business with you. You need insurance not only for your stock, but also for those who approach. If you had people in or outside and they had suffered, it's only insurance that can compensate them. You know, so I mean, I'll be quite brief on that one. I mean, this way out.
But you don't find it strange that there's a mall which was put up just a few months ago. I mean, I don't think that the items that were used to build it are obsolete to have sort of caused this kind of damage that we're seeing. I mean,
with all due respect,
it's just 3, 4, 5 months ago.
With all due respect, a car that is bought
today can actually bend. In fact, the reason why I'm raising this question because of what you said earlier. In fact, it's one of the conspiracy theories that have been bandied around that perhaps somebody may have been behind this, either internally or externally, you know. And I pity the insurance company that has insured this company because they have some huge sums of money to pay the owners of the business. But Felix, what do you make of this?
Well, I'll come to that, but it's important to make a few comments on the Okoe-boye's position. You see, we have been in government before, and indeed, President Mahama has actually been president before. He's the only president in Ghana who has left power and come back through democratic means. And when we were campaigning, we used to emphasize his experience and the fact that he knows the terrain already, and therefore will hit the ground running. So, and that is telling. It has come to play in the sort of governance that he has offered thus far. But some of the things that happened under the MPP, they were not the ordinary issues that we used to banter about. In my earlier submission, I indicated that you will hardly find a situation where 1 or 2 things won't happen under a government. There are always people trying to make a quick buck and all that. So that will fit into Okoe-boye's model of the armed robbery, or the analogy that he devised about armed robbery and whether or not you can keep such people at bay from political parties. But we are talking of extraordinary levels of financial imprudence and recklessness and outright corruption and dissipation of state resources. Look, the National Service scandal that you've read about, the Auditor General's report that was released, have you heard anything of the sort in the history of Ghana? In fact, last week I told you that a similar occurrence happened under President Mahama. But if you look at the level of it and compare it to what has happened, especially when those who replaced the people who were taken through a certain legal process for misconducting themselves in the case of National Service had opportunity to learn from the mistakes of the past and didn't do so. You cannot gloss over this. The details of the buffer stock case, as the Attorney General highlighted, are mind-boggling. The Adubuahin case. And there are many others that will come. When the Auditor General's reports on the payment of arrears comes, you would even marvel as to whether or not we actually had a government. And indeed, the MPP had also actually been in government before. So they were expected to draw lessons from this thing. And that was supposed to inform how they manage public resources. In fact, President Akufo-Addo made a clear commitment at his inauguration on January 7th, 2017, that he will protect the public purse. He didn't do that. The outcomes show that he did not do that. So the people of Ghana began to demand action. And we, as the opposition party at the time, and the next available alternative, responded to that clarion call by fashioning out a policy to demand accountability in ways that satisfy public demand, whilst putting in place measures to avoid their recurrence. And that is what gave birth to oral. So oral is in fact a policy that we canvassed before the people of Ghana, which they bought into. So we have a duty to roll it out. In this rollout, the people of Ghana, from what he disclosed at the press conference, no, it's the same issues. And in fact, under Okoe-boye's government, Godfrey Dami used to put out charge sheets when he charged people. When he charged Atufosin and Co, he published it. So the details of the allegations were contained in it. It is the same thing that Ayini has done. Dr. Dominic Ayini has done as Attorney General. The only difference is that he has done it on the public platform and shown transparency and accountability. He has given reasons why Abdul Hanan, his wife, and the 3 others were taken through the processes preceding the arraignment before court. And that is what he has done in some of the cases. Of course, not all of them that he will be able to speak to. But the significant ones, he has opened it up for public scrutiny. When the Attorney General goes to court, the public knows what charges he is preferring against the people. Court proceedings are open to the public. They are covered by the media. So it is unclear to me why the MPP is up in arms about the Attorney General informing them. The people of Ghana are our employers. They are our bosses. It is their resources that are used to pay us. The investigations the Attorney General is conducting is paid for by the taxpayer. All the officials, some of whose names Okoe-boye has mentioned this morning, are public officials who are paid with the taxpayers' money. The work they do is not secret. They are not operating under the cover of darkness. And so when they do their work and they update us up as to where they got to, I don't think that there's any difficulty with it. And it is not true that the MPP kept quiet when they charged people under them. Their social media propagandists were all over the place, publishing details of court proceedings and charges against people. So we have never had a situation where anybody has been tried in Ghana in secret. And I have told you before that this is actually standard practice. In the most liberal, advanced democracies, where human rights are protected better than we do here, charges are discussed publicly, including very high-profile personalities. So the MPP really is chasing after shadows. You can understand why they don't want these things disclosed. Because as far as they're concerned, it only confirms that the people of Ghana were right to vote against them. And that it may hurt their chances going forward as a political party. Because people will see that when they entrusted them with responsibility, they were reckless and dissipated public resources. That is all that they are worried about.
So you don't agree with him when he says that the style of the presentation of the issues, it's seeking to assassinate people's characters and making them look as though they are criminals, even before a competent court of jurisdiction.
No, how so? When the Attorney General files charges and he discloses the details of the charges, what the person is alleged to have done, and it is published in the media, is the character of the person involved assassinated.
Right.
It is not. It is public scrutiny. It is public scrutiny. That's all that there is. So it is one of two things. I did it, I didn't do it. Yesterday, all the people who have been taken to court so far have pleaded not guilty. They will have opportunity to defend themselves. Why? In the 214 case, even before the trial ended, the appeals court threw out the charges leveled against them. Meanwhile, everything that had to be said had been said about them. Governor Dam, did he not grant interviews in the 214 matter? Did MPP communicators not publicize the details of the charges against Atufosin and Co? But the court cleared him. Okay. Why? O.J. Simpson. And I refer to him a lot because perhaps he's a gold standard in these things. Look at the publicity that case was given. In fact, the case was transmitted live. It was a criminal case, but it was transmitted live. In the end, the jury found him not guilty.
Okay.
So I don't understand. The Attorney General can never pronounce anybody guilty. The Attorney General says that my investigations show that Okoe-boye has done A, B, C, D. For this reason, I am taking him to court on this day. That's what that he says.
Okay. All right.
That does not pronounce anybody guilty. Indeed, Abu Hanan and his wife have not been sentenced to prison, a jail term, because the Attorney General spoke. What the Attorney General has said will be tested in court. So if they have any contrary facts to dispute what the Attorney General has done, they will put it before the judge. The judge will make a determination. Okay. So it doesn't matter what the Attorney General says. No judge convicts anybody because of what the Attorney General says. The judge will look at the evidence before him and make a determination based on what answers the accused persons provide.
Right.
So I don't understand what the MPP is saying. They just don't want the Attorney General to shed light on supposed wrongdoing. That is all that there is. Because they know that perhaps there's a political price to pay for it. That is what it is about.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't get it. Well, with regards to the fire incident, it's unfortunate.
Yes. Fantastic.
It's regrettable for that quantum of property to be destroyed in one fell swoop like that. But I'm on all fours with Okoe-boye when he talks about the need to take steps to prevent some of these things. Perhaps in the construction of warehouses, malls, shops, and what have you, fire preventive measures should be enhanced to prevent it. And also additional steps like insurance, like he said, can be taken to mitigate against any potential losses that may happen. So one can only sympathize with the owners of this store and hope that they are able to recover from this unspeakable tragedy. Yeah.
Anyway, let's look at the... So, Doc, Okoe-boye, you've been trending, whether for the right or wrong reasons. So today, about 5 or so newspapers have all been reporting on this particular matter, and it's a reaction or response to the health minister's media encounter, the accountability series, which has been put together, which is organized by Felix's department or Felix's ministry. Now, today's Herald reports that Health Minister fires back at a rented agent Okoe-boye over defense of $100 million deal. That's how the Herald reported. The Daily Statesman says Lightwave denies withholding Ghana's health data. That's the Daily Statesman. And then you have the publisher, the Ghanaian publisher, that says Lightwave saga, Okoe-boye exposes Akando's lies. And then you have the Custodian that says Okoe-boye refutes Akando's claims on Lightwave e-health contract. Yes, I believe that's it. So 5 newspapers, number 4 newspapers reporting on the same matter. But I'll run with the Herald newspapers publication. And it says that the Minister of Health, Kwabena Minta Akando, has fired back at his predecessor, Dr. Bernard Okoe-boye, over remarks concerning the now scrapped Lightwave Health Information Management System, that's LIMS project, describing him as part of the problem confronting the ministry. The rebuttal follows Dr. Okoe-boye's criticisms of Akando's handling of the project and plans to transfer the contract to a new vendor. Akando described Okoe-boye as acting like an agent of LIMS during an interview on City Eyewitness News yesterday, October 30. Among other things, the company has also been linked to Samson Jaba, a relative of former MPP National Women's Organizer Otiku Afisa Jaba, who was also the former Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. Also mentioned as having a stake in the $100 million transfer is Dr. Nana Ayew-Afriyie, the ranking member on the Health Committee in Parliament and MP for Efiduasa Asokore constituency in the Ashanti region. Now, the Herald's information is that Samson Jaba, a cousin of President John Dramani Mahama, was detained earlier this year by security officers at Kotoka International Airport over the contract, having been placed on the stop list due to irregularities noticed in the payment. Mr. Akando expressed surprise at the former minister's comments, including what he considered deliberate lies by his predecessor about which government signed the contract. The story continues on page 13, and I'll end with just the last paragraph before you come in. So page 13. Okay. I looked at this. Okay. I guess that the import of the story has been captured in the first 4 paragraphs that I've just read to you. You were health minister from, I believe, August, right? I think so. August, yes, August to December in the last administration. What do you know about this Lightwave health management systems?
Well,
matter?
Maybe just a minute to say that.
Okay.
When the Attorney General, just responding to Felix, when the Attorney General addresses the nation and states facts that he's taking to court, Moro, is it every charge or prosecution the Attorney General makes that automatically, is it only one outcome that happens in a court? If you're a lawyer, if you are not an Attorney General and you take cases to court, is it automatic that whatever you take to court, you succeed in getting a guilty verdict? Some of the verdicts turn out not guilty, with all due respect. The Attorney General sent Atuforsin to court, had facts. Did he succeed? No. So if from the word go, just because the Attorney General had a fact that said he has been involved in the payment of, let's say, $10 million to the ambulance dealer, he's caused financial loss. And then, prior to that, political actors or communicators sit on TV and say that, wow, this is unprecedented to have paid $10 million. We've never seen some before. This level is extraordinary. You are preempting the whole process. Why is it that people find it difficult to understand this? You are talking as if the thing has come to an end, yet you are now about to take it to the mill, where it will be determined whether it is really so or not. How complex is this to understand? Jakpa, the cost of the ambulance deal, if it was $10 million, how would you feel if from the word go, just because Dami came out with fact sheets that this guy has been involved in supplying second-hand vehicles, it has cost us $5 million. And then I sit there and say, wow, in the history of Ghana, $5 million lost through inferior ambulance. It has never happened. When at the end of the day, in court, it turned out that from the appeal, this guy should walk free. That's all we are saying. Take your time. Let it walk through the mill. When it now ends and comes out and is guilty, wherever you take it, I'll be quiet. Because that is an independent platform where adjudication has to be made. How difficult is it? What AG has said is what a court, if that is the case, they shouldn't go to court. Put all these guys inside. Because everything you've said is sacrosanct. Please.
Okay, but let me try to understand something.
Just before he goes on, so that we don't split us about that. Okay. What you mean? Has a court pronounced Oyome guilty of any offense in Ghana? Has any court done that? And yet, did they not compose songs? Look, there was a time that for a whole year, please, no, just so that you can flow with the lightweight matter. Admit that yes, I agree, but just so that you can flow with the lightweight matter, so that we don't have to come back to this. Okay. What do you mean? For one whole year, every single day, every day, it was the subject of discussion on radio, and MPP people, Okoe-boye and Co, discussed it.
Are you done?
Has any court, even in the wake of all those discussions, pronounced Oyome guilty of any offense?
Are you done?
Okay.
They are two forcing matter. Did MPP people not discuss it before the matter went to court? In fact, I can show you radio, TV discussions of that matter before the AG filed any charges.
All right.
Said in this case, have MPP people not discussed it?
I guess the difference here is that.
What's the difference?
The difference here, and from what you said, is that now the
Attorney General has simply said that I have provided the context that when we were campaigning, we promised people something we called oral Operation Recover All Loot, which was a special effort to retrieve what we believe to be monies or resources of the state illegally appropriated, and prosecute persons we believe have questions to answer in that regard. A process was initiated to gather facts and then proceed to investigate and then prosecute. Just like we give accounts of what has happened under health only this week, like the defense minister has done, interior minister has done, like I do. The Attorney General, who is a public official and spearheading oral, has a duty to keep the public informed about what he is doing, especially in circumstances where MPP people themselves have led the chorus on claims that oral is not functioning.
I think
and all that the Attorney General has done is that, yes, I have investigated this number of cases. On this particular case, these are the reasons why you heard that I had ordered Abdul Hanan's arrest.
Okay.
It has been investigated. We have found that this is what he has done. Because of this, I'm taking him to court.
I'll give the chance to you.
Tomorrow, that matter, that in itself does not pronounce anybody guilty. In fact, the Attorney General doesn't convict or pronounce anybody guilty. He says, my investigation show that Moro has committed this offense, so I'm taking him to court. It is the court that does that.
All right.
Every accused person, everybody who is accused,
would have his day in court.
No, and what I was actually going to say, that every accused person, everybody accused of wrongdoing in Ghana and elsewhere, goes through the same thing.
Okay.
The matter involving them are discussed. The issues are discussed. Sometimes judges clamp down on people who discuss it and threaten them with contempt. But it is discussed. Okay. There's never been a single case in Ghana that has never been discussed.
All right. So
I think with all due respect, because my brother is the minister, you can even allocate more time.
Oh, no, that's not it. I thought that because of the way that discussions were started, so that we can focus on light and then we don't have to come back to this. That's all. It wasn't an interruption.
It's not complex to understand. All I'm saying is that if someone is making commentary, you said we made commentary on some cases. I don't really have a problem with commentary, especially when it has a political connotation or whatever. But the approach and the pronouncement should not be conclusive in nature. You see, when you say these levels of loot, like you didn't use the word loot, but I've written this extraordinary level. Yet the thing is now about to go through the mail. And you see, he's mentioned accountability series, the thing we just exposed on it. When government comes to say something about an event that happened in the past, the fact that it is coming from government appointees doesn't mean it's sacrosanct. Yes, so you must be measured in the way you talk about the things. When you talk about it, I don't have a problem. That we've seen payment, this lightweight thing. So we believe, and I like the phrase used. Even for you to say we believe means that you know within that it is something you hold, but it might not be true. If it is automatic, you didn't say we believe. You say that it is so. So that's all I'm saying. And you see, people are watching us, people listen to us. Now when you go to, let's say, social media, because of the way some of you present the case, you will see they'll put the pictures of, let's say, these people you are now taking to court. Say, can you imagine they took all this money? These things are happening, or you are in charge, so I'm not saying you are the one sponsoring it, but when you monitor,
okay.
So that's all I'm saying. And no, let me finally also say that, I mean, the court system is always the best way to come out with the true facts, where both sides have been listened to. And it's interesting that people like Serinam Tamaklo, for some very strategic reason, when my brother Felix and their team talk, they conveniently even avoid those occurrences. Meanwhile, even those ones, it's gone through the mill and has arrived. And nobody's interested in where she's living in the world, whether she's bringing the money back, because, of course, he's belonging to a particular political family. But it's for Ghanaians to judge. Oh, lightweight. So, somewhere in 2016, when President John Dramani Mahama was in charge of this country, the unique product that a company has is what makes them get what we refer to as competitive advantage, meaning they can secure a job based on the offering they are making, which others don't have. And so Lightwave showed that they have some unique offering that if Ghana buys into and is ready to pay for, exchange for the value, we can move from an old system where folders are used, records get missing, you can't really rely on identity. One person can be operated using identity of the other and other. You can stay away from that and then modernize your system. So, John Dramani Mahama's government, on the 1st of April 2016, signed a contract with Lightwave at the cost of $6 million to network 23 health facilities in the Central Region. These are all in the ministry's archives. This happened. They finished the work December 2017. When Lightwave networked all these facilities, which included the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, they approached the then MPP administration with the findings of the work. We didn't truncate it when we inherited power in January. They started somewhere in April. The contract was signed in April. The work showed that they had been able to connect all these hospitals. And their unique offering was really true. So when you go to Winneba Hospital and they attend to you, and you have to be referred to Cape Coast, which is a referral within Central Region, you needn't take any particulars. Just you mentioning your ID, that's unique ID, makes them access all your data from, what's the name, Winneba. And the doctors can actually continue with what they did in Winneba. So when they showed it to our government, the new government, as in the MPP administration, this I would not mention names, but I know there were some who were like, hey, wait a minute, this was a contract that was signed in the previous administration. Are you sure we are going to get value? But the then minister was able to look at the work they had done together with his technical people and realize the value, approach cabinet, and was able to convince cabinet, and cabinet approved for the ministry to continue with a national rollout, because the 23 was like a pilot under the NDC administration. So
is it 23 or 25, the pilot?
I think I have read one of my notes that mentioned 25. And just recently, I'm also picking at 23. But whatever be the case, it was a contract sum of $6 million to network at about 23, 25 facilities in the Central Region. I stand to be corrected if anybody else. Now, the contract was sent to the PPA because one of the basis for doing the sole source is when you have a unique product which other competitors don't appear to have or don't have. Because remember, this is someone who has brought a product to the NDC administration, had delivered on a product, and now wants it to be scaled to the rest of the country. You can't now go and give it to a new person when you've not tested the technology and work of the new person. So the documents that was sent to PPA was to roll out to the whole of Ghana 950 facilities at a cost of $100 million. In fact, PPA document was $186+ million. But later, when the transcripts paperwork was sent to the Ministry of Finance, their value for money audit team did some work and got back to Ministry of Health that We will not do 186. We can do 100 for the whole of Ghana, 950. So the vendor signed the agreement with Ghana, as in the Ministry of Health, to do the project in milestones. Now, I have some very quick breakdown. Out of the 950, four out of the 950 are actually teaching hospitals. 6 are regional hospitals. District hospitals and CHEATTT facilities are 243. Psychiatric hospitals 2. Polyclinics 49. And then health centers, which are lower units, about 646. When you add this, you get 950. But look at the breakdown in terms of payments. How much of the $100 million is for which? The 4 teaching hospitals account for $21 million for their work in terms of the volume and the scope. The 6 regional hospitals account for $22 million. All the 243 district hospitals across Ghana, plus CHEATTT facilities, was to be $29 million. Now, you have the polyclinics, the 49 polyclinics coming to $6 million. The breakdown, I think, yes, because they are figures, I rewrote them, let me go to my, sorry, so that I get it right.
Anyway, so you're watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television, and Dr. Okoe-boye is here. He's, of course, representing the New Patriotic Party. He's telling us what he knows about the light wave.
So that is it. NT MPP for no more detronachomwa. This is how they behave. I was said you could boy no din or studio. Meanwhile, on the can say and yen quarry. Bernard Okoe-boye in Sema Wakana. In him. You see, he was the guy, according to a year Kwabnaminta Canton, or Chirimua or HEATTT ministry honor. In fact, they were doing some double payment. So was so 10,000, no more could 12,000, no more could 20,000. You see, these people, they are all jail candidates. But then a buying fees, and run a meeting with PCFM. Nanina Kwabnaminta Kando, a fast software on sense more can ya say, Okoe-boye in Kabi, because a Niama Wakwasi health ministry honor. On any boss, I mean, just a disaster of my course in a home. And yes, and get one. And one before they know they're betting a TV so. And you know, Felix Ofusu Kwaakye, one thing you can never take from him is a way when I know what to be them a man. Felix Ofusu Kwaakye, every when him, open more can say we now so amount the same reply. Amount reply. I like that me pronounce a facade, you know, because MP before your madness, they will never learn their lessons whilst they're in opposition. They always want to throw what stones onto the park whilst the footballers are on the pitch. A park and so. And they don't want to speak truth. And when we take the arrogance and all the kasa of PCFM, and NPP abandoned this one, and kasa power outage and as a software issue and Kenya the ember, which means that they were having some interest somewhere. They were having interest somewhere. Now, then interest go, baby. And all of a sudden, fees were benefit na ono munya no omo nsanka no ena omo ne nkofo na kwatena se aye baako ena omo akatting off. That is the whole thing according to Kwabnaminta Kando hwe ne nkasa eno teaching analysis or ye investigation mo ya. That is the whole thing. That is the whole thing. Because of say benefit na no munya ene omunye bio. Enti no aye omu akasakasa ato omu sebi dadwene. So these are the people are Ghana for. Mo pese mudi omu babio. MPP as a political party, it is not ready to come to power at this moment. In fact, after 15 years, after 16 years, I don't think MPP for be ready. Because the way they do, how they organize themselves, even on one kasa flagbership, the kind of insult of the monk. Papa can lead a point to be Bonyan country. Now, for a brony network, so no more dinner them. No more dinner them. All because of Obi party. And they be America after 31st of January 2026. Na from 31st to 1st February because enkofo bi no be hu musu level kroma and enkofo bi be finding it very difficult to negotiate and as it what to to unite themselves because already na omayo mu fi data already omayo mu fi data nti e be very difficult so be dey on be come momo Enti Okoe-boye ni nsem oti Metro TV kanina no. Eye business. Ye mamokonya ni se monye, montimi anye. Se mo wo man ho adwempa enka sabi. Ye de ma NDC for no. Enka mo be kona mo ni mu nyina akokasa. Se o se ukọ na se ombe den, ombe te wase a. Why didn't you go and talk to the people if you think and I say if you're having this nation at heart? Na nye politics na o play na nye o political party bi na pese ombra na unye sika nche wonum enu botom no obusuafo nyina mu didi me a enka wana wo kasa obetimi akọ na anya omo akokasa and when am tie no piece say so clock news na me tie no na me ko baby but na me tie no the okay na ne say ombetimi ne sa nkofo no omo handle that software the health system na obetin no ma kasa just once no ma eden o ma bibia genuine but because of politics in no so onye because of so no na ban ni so nti so onye enti di power ye di o man ani ni power ye to man so me MP ni power say ye man position bi so ndi o man so no because oni o man no e de na koma so the odwan se na fu na num na busuafo ne ho ne na yire ne mma obia be didi ame kama na omote ho no but Ghana for be di no it does not care it mume you the kind of people MPP are mume the kind of people we are dealing with in this country. They can never manage this country, never and ever, because we have given them the ample time. We gave them the battle, we gave them the mantle to do whatever they can do, but they didn't. They failed to do so. And then corruption. Sikawia adansi ya toka sama we ya yewe bebre to the extent say ne kimpin na nkasa kwa Felix or US in Jomba. Yembi say di ntia kinofrata or acquisition for a citizenship for US. A di ntia kinofrata pers no. Have you ever asked yourself, say di ntia kinofrata a person or a citizen of US? Have you ever asked yourself? Abusia nsem dosu. Kira waju ko message no hanum ayi na mo tete platform negative ya ko ponko so a enko bra na mi shira media na mega makraw. Bye bye.